There's a moment that happens to you every single morning.
Realize it's occurring. You wake up, and within seconds, your brain begins its daily routine of deception. Not malicious lies, but protective ones. Necessary ones. The kind of lies that have kept our species alive for millennia, but in today's world, they might be the very thing holding you back from becoming who you're meant to be. Right now, as you're listening to this, your brain is lying to you about something. Maybe it's telling you that you're not smart enough to understand complex ideas, or that you don't have time for personal growth, or that this moment, right here, isn't important enough to deserve your full attention. But here's what's fascinating, and deeply unsettling: these lies aren't bugs in your mental software. They're features. Your brain isn't trying to hurt you. It's trying to protect you. But in doing so, it's created an elaborate system of cognitive illusions that shape every decision you make, every relationship you form, and every dream you either pursue or abandon.
The question isn't whether your brain lies to you. The question is, are you ready to see through the illusion?
Let me tell you about Sarah. She's 34, works in marketing, and considers herself a rational person. Every morning, she looks in the mirror and sees someone who's pretty average. She believes this assessment is objective, realistic, even humble. But here's what Sarah doesn't know: her brain is performing an incredibly sophisticated magic trick. When Sarah looks in the mirror, her brain doesn't just record what it sees. It compares, it judges, it filters through decades of experiences, cultural programming, and evolutionary biases. The woman staring back at her isn't Sarah, it's Sarah as interpreted by a neural network that's more concerned with keeping her safe than showing her truth. This is your first glimpse into the beautiful, terrifying world of cognitive bias. Your brain has evolved not to show you reality, but to show you a version of reality that maximizes your chances of survival and social acceptance. And this process is so seamless, so automatic, that you mistake these filtered perceptions for objective truth. Think about the last time you walked into a room full of strangers. What did your brain tell you? Probably something like, everyone's looking at you, or you don't belong here, or they can tell you're nervous. But here's the psychological reality: most people in that room were so absorbed in their own self-focused anxiety that they barely noticed you at all. This is the spotlight effect in action. Your brain lies to you by convincing you that you're the center of everyone else's attention, when in reality, you're barely a blip on their psychological radar. This lie serves a purpose: it keeps you cautious, prevents social risks that might lead to rejection. But it also keeps you small. Now, let's go deeper. There's a lie your brain tells you every single day that's so fundamental, you've probably never questioned it. It's the lie about who you are. You have this sense of being a continuous, consistent person. The you that woke up this morning feels like the same you that went to sleep last night, the same you that made decisions yesterday, the same you that has hopes and fears and preferences. Your brain creates this narrative of personal continuity so convincingly that you never doubt it. But neuroscience reveals something extraordinary and slightly disturbing. The you that exists right now is actually a constantly changing constellation of neural activity. Your brain is literally different than it was when you started listening to this. New connections are forming, others are being pruned away. The person you were 5 minutes ago? That version of you is gone forever. Yet your brain insists on maintaining the illusion of a stable self. It takes all these moment-to-moment changes and weaves them into a coherent story. It's like a film editor taking thousands of individual frames and creating the illusion of smooth motion. The story feels real because the editing is flawless. This lie of continuity serves you well. It allows you to make commitments, form relationships, have goals that extend beyond the present moment. But it also traps you. When your brain insists this is who I am, it becomes harder to imagine this is who I could become. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Your brain doesn't just lie about who you are, it lies about what you want. You think you know your own desires. You believe you can distinguish between what you truly want and what others expect you to want. But your brain is constantly running a background program that adjusts your preferences based on what it thinks will keep you safe, accepted, and socially integrated. This is why you might find yourself wanting things that don't actually make you happy once you get them. Your brain isn't showing you your authentic desires, it's showing you socially acceptable versions of those desires. It's editing your wants in real time, like a helicopter parent protecting you from your own potentially dangerous impulses. Think about your career choices, your relationships, even your hobbies. How many of these decisions were made by the real you, and how many were made by the version of you that your brain thought would be most acceptable to others? This isn't conscious deception. Your brain genuinely believes it's helping you. It's performing this elaborate psychological sleight of hand out of love, out of an evolutionary imperative to keep you alive and connected to your tribe. But in our modern world, these protective lies might be the very thing preventing you from living authentically. Let me share something that might make you uncomfortable. Right now, as you're processing this information, your brain is actively resisting some of what I'm telling you. It's generating counterarguments, finding exceptions, creating psychological escape routes. This isn't because you're stubborn or closed-minded. It's because your brain has a built-in system called cognitive dissonance reduction. When new information threatens your existing beliefs about yourself or your world, your brain doesn't objectively evaluate the evidence. Instead, it works overtime to maintain consistency with what you already believe. It's like having a personal PR team in your head, constantly spinning information to protect your existing worldview. This is why changing deeply held beliefs feels so difficult, so uncomfortable. Your brain literally experiences challenges to your core beliefs as threats to your survival. The discomfort you feel when confronting uncomfortable truths isn't just psychological, it's physiological. Your brain activates the same neural pathways it would use if you were facing physical danger. So if you're feeling a little unsettled right now, if part of you wants to dismiss what I'm saying or find reasons why it doesn't apply to you, congratulations. You're experiencing your brain's protective lying system in real time. But here's what's beautiful about understanding these mechanisms. Once you see the magic trick, once you understand how the illusion works, you gain a kind of psychological superpower. You can start to catch your brain in the act of deception. Not to punish it, but to gently redirect it. When you feel that familiar voice telling you you're not good enough, or this is too risky, or people like you don't do things like this, you can pause and ask, is this my authentic voice, or is this my brain trying to keep me safe? This isn't about becoming cynical or distrusting your own mind. It's about developing what psychologists call metacognition, thinking about thinking. It's learning to be the observer of your own mental processes rather than being completely identified with them. The goal isn't to eliminate these protective mechanisms entirely. They serve important functions. The goal is to become conscious enough to choose when to listen to them and when to gently override them in service of growth, authenticity, and connection. Here's a practical example of how this awareness can transform your daily experience. The next time you're about to make a decision, pause. Ask yourself, what is my brain trying to protect me from right now? Maybe it's protecting you from the risk of failure, from the possibility of rejection, from the vulnerability of being truly seen. Once you identify the protection pattern, you can make a conscious choice. Sometimes, the protection is wise and you should listen. Other times, the protection is outdated, designed for threats that no longer exist in your current reality. This is how you begin to reclaim authorship of your own life. Not by fighting against your brain's protective instincts, but by partnering with them more consciously. The most profound lie your brain tells you is perhaps the most necessary one. It's the lie that you are separate from everything else. That you end where your skin begins. That your thoughts and feelings and experiences are entirely your own, contained within the boundaries of your individual consciousness. But modern neuroscience and ancient wisdom traditions agree on something remarkable. The boundaries between self and other, between inner and outer experience, are far more fluid than your brain allows you to perceive. Your thoughts are influenced by the thoughts of everyone around you. Your emotions ripple out and affect others in ways you never realize. Your very sense of self is co-created through your relationships and interactions. Your brain maintains the illusion of separation because it's easier to navigate the world with clear boundaries, with a distinct sense of self and other. But this useful lie can also lead to profound loneliness, to the feeling that you're facing life's challenges entirely alone. Understanding this illusion opens up possibilities for connection and empathy that your separate self could never imagine. When you realize that the boundaries between you and others are much softer than they appear, compassion stops being a moral obligation and becomes a natural recognition of shared humanity. So where does this leave you? How do you live with the knowledge that your most intimate companion, your own mind, is constantly crafting elaborate fictions about reality? The answer isn't to become paranoid about your own thoughts or to lose trust in your ability to perceive and navigate the world. The answer is to develop a different relationship with uncertainty, with the provisional nature of all perception, with the beautiful fallibility of human consciousness. When you understand that everyone's brain is performing these same protective deceptions, it becomes easier to extend compassion to others when they act from fear, when they seem irrational, when they're clearly operating from outdated psychological programming. You're all doing your best with neural systems that were designed for a world very different from the one you inhabit now. This understanding also makes you more curious rather than certain, more interested in questions than attached to answers. When you know that your initial perceptions and judgments are filtered through layers of cognitive bias, you become naturally more open to other perspectives, more willing to be surprised by reality. The ultimate invitation here isn't to live in constant doubt about your own experience. It's to hold your perceptions lightly, to remain curious about the stories your brain tells you, and to remember that behind all these protective mechanisms is a consciousness that's far more vast and resilient than any of your brain's attempts to define or limit it. Your brain lies to you every day because it loves you. It wants to keep you safe, help you belong, protect you from overwhelming complexity. These lies have gotten you this far, and for that, they deserve gratitude rather than judgment. But now you have a choice. You can continue living unconsciously within these helpful illusions, or you can begin the fascinating, sometimes uncomfortable, ultimately liberating journey of seeing through them while still appreciating their purpose. The question isn't whether you can stop your brain from lying to you. The question is, now that you know about the lies, what truth will you choose to create?
Because here's the final, most beautiful deception your brain has been hiding from you. You've always been far more powerful, far more resilient, far more capable of growth and change than any of your protective mental stories ever allowed you to believe. The real you, the one behind all the cognitive filters and defensive mechanisms, has been waiting patiently for this moment of recognition all along.